All right, good day, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Live the Fuel show. So today we're catching up with, yes, yet another new guest co-host. That's the way we roll here. Every once in a while we get a repeat. But this gentleman is joining us from a different time zone. So every once in a while I love trying to align schedules. And so please listen in today for this episode because he's making the sacrifice. It's only 4 p.m. here my time in the USA, and I believe he said 10 p.m. his time. But we're going to talk about obviously health. We lead this show with health first, before business, before lifestyle balance. And this gentleman is actually knows his way around the health world for about 26 years, but also he understands this embracing of technology. We're going to talk about tech. We're going to talk about all these types of wearables nowadays, which is now an exploding market of money that I've invested in. I can tell you that just for my cycling game. So real quick, 26 years, freelance doctor. All right. He's worked all over Norway, hundreds and thousands of consultations, gained probably a pretty unique point of view on disease that plagues us. Because those of you who listen to the show for a while, I've brought on many, many experts, and we have discussed the power of truly healing the body all the way down to the cellular level and finding that most disease can be avoided. Can actually even be reversed, if you will. God forbid you actually say that. Type 2 diabetes, we've proven it now, can be reversed. You can pull it back. My own father lives with type 2 diabetes. We're almost there. I got him down to one medicine. We're bringing him back. He's lost a lot of weight. This gentleman will be able to help us with that as well, to understand that a little bit more today too. But again, around this wearable market, we're going to dive in on this. We're going to figure out how could it maybe help you guys, help the women and men out there that are trying to figure out how to take that next step in improving your lifestyle. And yeah, some of it can be expensive, but a lot of it's actually gotten more affordable. And I know in the healthcare world, depending on the country you're in, some of it could even be put through in your medical insurance or health insurance, however that's all working out. So let's talk more about this today. We're going to talk about the nervous system. We're going to talk about physiology. So without further ado, our guest co-host today, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Torkil Færø, sir. Welcome.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to be here as your co-host. I'll help you along.
Yes. So, so I don't think I've done Norway yet. So I'm excited. So
Cool.
we've checked another country off of this amazing planets list. So thank you for making the time. And thank you for committing because it is 10 p.m. I believe you said your time, right? See, that's what I love about that. That's hustle. That's commitment. You and I were joking around before I hit record here. I've had to make some sacrifices on my own schedule, and trying to lock down an expert in Japan about a year ago. That was fun. Time zones, it's a real thing. But that's the beauty of, speaking of technology here, we have Zoom, we have all these video platforms now. It helps experts like yourself share your stories, share your messaging. And I'm just honored to help do that with you and have you as a guest co-host so we can have some fun, but also maybe learn a few things, which is why I launched this show many, many years ago, is that it's about helping people get their voice out there and help people, including myself, learn from that experience, learn from that conversation. So that's why I'm a passionate podcaster all these years. I still, to this day, have never taken on a paid advertiser or any of that. I make enough money in my consulting that I do in the business world. I want podcasting to be real, clean, truthful. And so let's dig in today. How long have you been doing podcasts now to help get your story out there?
I've been doing it for 2 years.
Okay.
I've been on 100, I think, English-speaking podcasts and 100 Norwegian-speaking because, of course, my book was first a success in Norway.
Yeah.
So I've been doing more than 200 podcasts the last couple of years. So
That's
it's
hustle. I love it.
a lot of talking. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it though. I like it though. Yeah, I love it actually.
I got to geek out a little bit. So in 2 years, have you made any like microphone changes or anything else? You've been trying to stick with the same platform.
Yeah, I learned quite fast that this microphone was good.
Yeah.
So I just sticking to it. So
Very good.
never heard any complaints. So
Yeah. This was my very first microphone when I launched the show. This is a Heil company PR40, and it's a little pricey, but when I launched my show, I was like, I just want to buy one microphone and set it and forget it. And it's been amazing ever since. So I have other microphones that I'll travel with if I'm doing a live event or something like that. If I'm speaking at a podcast conference, I've done that over the years, and I'll bring a portable travel kit, to be able to just sit down with the people live. If you've ever gone, I'm sure you've gone to conferences and things of that nature, and
yeah,
there's a different level of energy, right, when you go there. So I love being able to sit down, and if I can pull some people aside and just sit there with the microphones in your hand, and while you got all the energy from that event. Do you see that happening more and more when you get out and about with what you do?
Yeah, somewhat. But still, most of the podcasts would be like this, and on a Zoom or Riverside or
Yeah, yeah,
so.
yeah. Riverside's really
So
taken off. Yeah, I've been on Zoom
yeah,
for a
yeah.
long time. I'm excited to see like podcasting specific technology like Riverside really take off. A few of my friends who have shows, they launched all using that platform. So,
Mm.
let's dive into this subject around technology, health.
Mhm.
Your book, so it's
Yeah,
called The Pulse Cure,
yeah,
and you said you rolled that out obviously Norway first, then
yeah.
flipped it into an English option later, or did you do both at the
Yeah,
same time?
English and 7 other languages.
Oh
So
wow,
for 1 year, it was just or it has been for 2 years, just an amazing success in Norway. I tried to translate it into American numbers, and it would be like 3 million copies of a book. So
wow.
in Norway, it's been just a wild success, and everybody's now talking about Garmin watches and Oura rings and body batteries and how to use the heart rate to track your health.
Yes.
So that is the main thing. That is why it's called the Pulse Cure, because whatever is good for you, that is healthy, will be revealed in the heart rate. And of course, with this technology, we can monitor the heart rate. We have companies using artificial intelligence and large numbers and big data and showing you whether you have a sustainable stress levels or not. So it's just such a good help for so many people. And that has been the reason for the success, that it's actually helping people and they're telling all their friends and people they know about it. So that is how it has been spreading.
So something unique about your background on we're gonna expand on this, but part of your background, I was reading more into it. Obviously, you're not just this. But let's pause on the one subject of what is a freelance doctor, because I'm excited by
Oh,
that because I don't like a lot of the doctors we have in this country. I
yeah.
think our system here does not set a good example. I'll just say it, and I don't think we set a good example as a healthy nation, as an American,
Mm.
as a United States of America citizen. Um, we could do a better job. So I love seeing how other countries do things differently. So is a
Mm.
quote freelance physician, is that more common in Norway?
I think it would be because in Norway, every county has to have a doctor on call 24/7.
Okay.
So then, of course, they need people to be, and I often work, far out in the districts. Last week, I was above the Arctic Circle. Now I'm back in Oslo. I'm going back above the Arctic Circle again
Wow.
for 1 week on call,
Okay.
24/7. And that is how I've been working as a freelancer, taking, going wherever I want to go to see the country. It's a beautiful way to see the country. You
Yeah.
get to know people all around. And in Norway's nature is beautiful, so
Oh,
it's
you
really
have a very
nice.
beautiful country. It's on my
Yeah,
travel
yeah,
list because that's all
yeah,
considered Scandinavian region, right?
yeah,
If you will.
yeah,
Okay. I wanted to make sure that
yeah,
wasn't changed or not. So,
yeah.
um, I think
So
you guys as a country set a way better example when it comes to health.
hmm, I think so. Yeah, probably. But still, most of the population are in ill health. Just like in the U.S., they are metabolically unhealthy.
Yeah.
Most of us. So, but probably still better than the U.S. So, as most countries would be. So, there's more ultra processed food, they're driving more. I remember I was in the States. I was actually on my way to buy a car in Virginia, and we were walking by the road to buy the car. And the police pulled us over, just asking us, why are you walking beside the road? Is this normal where you come from?
Yeah.
So we had to say yes, it's quite normal. So there's a difference between the US where you drive to most places. Well, here we try to make our cities so that we can walk as much as we can.
Which I love.
So
I love.
so there would be differences.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's a possibility to work like that as a freelance doctor, and that is why I became a doctor. So my entrance into being a doctor is different from most doctors because I had been traveling. I wanted to continue travel, so I knew that I could work for a short time but intensely, and then go off for some adventure in the world.
Hmm.
And actually, on one of these adventures, everything changed because I was on I had planned a 4-year circumnavigation with our sailboat with
Wow.
my family. And 1 year into that journey, while we were actually by the Panama Canal, ready to cross into the Pacific, I got a message. My father was ill. He got cancer, and 3 months later, he was dead. We packed up the boat by the canal and, went home. And then, and this is now 12 years ago, I look at in the mirror and I saw that, okay, if I continue this lifestyle, I will probably not become older than he was, which was 73. So that is when I
That's young.
changed everything around. So I changed my lifestyle completely.
It's a shame that it takes the loss of a loved one, let alone a father, to inspire these changes. So, like,
Mm.
I'm the crazy health nut guy in my family.
Mm.
Like, I grew up on a farm. My parents raised me
Mm.
on a farm, and but then when the farm left the picture and they moved out of that world, I saw the degrading of health, right?
Mm.
Falling into the quote unquote norm of processed food, or just not taking care of ourselves the same way. I mean, when you have
Yeah.
other beings, other animals, whatever to take care of, you work differently. You're physically active a lot more. Like you said, taking a walk is pretty normal. Well, on our farm, we walked everywhere. I mean, yeah, you might
And
take a
and you were out in the sun with sun
exactly.
exposure, you know?
Yes, so healthy. Exactly. People are
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
no, you got to use sunblock. I don't own sunblock. I stopped doing that years ago. So
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
somehow I'm still here and I don't have skin cancer. But anyway, that's a whole other probably podcast. Um, but so even in your country, at the surface level, I hear of Norway and these Scandinavian countries. To me, because as a big skier, I follow that region, and people who have more, like you said, I'll just pop up to the Arctic Circle. That's not a normal conversation to have. Which, by the way, real quick, how far of a commute is that? Like, are you flying up? Is it like
I'll be flying for 2 hours.
okay, so about a 2 hour
Yeah.
flight? Okay,
Yeah.
not bad.
Mm.
Well, a few weeks ago, my wife and I went to British Columbia, Canada, to go skiing in Whistler. That's on
Mm.
the other side of our country. So I'm you said Virginia, so I'm in Pennsylvania. So I'm
Mm.
about an hour north of Philadelphia, and hop on a plane. That's a 6 hour flight to get all the way over to the west coast of the USA,
Mm.
and then pop into Vancouver, Canada. Then it's a 2 hour drive in the snow to get to Whistler, BC. So that was just to go skiing. So,
Mm. Yeah.
I'm not afraid of traveling, as a little hint. But as I joked around earlier, as a cyclist, as a skier, that's when I break in my wearables, which we'll expand on in today's show. But when I look at your background, again, losing the father, using that as inspiration, I've tried to personally flip that myself. My parents don't have the best track record of healthy choices, and I don't do it to degrade them or belittle them. I try and set the example. Like, everybody in my family is now overweight. I'm the only one that looks
Mm.
like this, and everybody just says, "Oh, it's because you're in the gym all the time." No, I'm lucky, and I built my own gym out in my pole barn here when I moved here 3 years ago, but I only hit that 2 3 days a week because I travel so much on business. I travel across Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York, USA. 4 states I cover for my clients, consulting, business, sales, and marketing. So I'm in my
Mm.
car a lot. Not the healthiest choice. So I don't go work out per se to, I don't know, to lose weight. I don't do it that way. I believe in the kitchen, right? The kitchen comes first to me. I learned that from experts many long ago. And there's many other variables, right? Getting out in the sun, being outdoorsy. I have a beautiful wooded lot around me here. My woods touch the other neighbors' woods. So I built my own trail through the trees. I put on a weight vest when I go walk the dog. So, because I want to be outside more. I don't want to be in front of my computer screens like this all the time. I've been working from home all day today, but to get ready for today's show, I went outside, went for a hike, right? Get some fresh air, recharge the batteries, be out in the sun, come back in. These little things that sound simple, you're hinting at this, like a police officer thinks it's weird that you're walking to go rent a car or buy a car in Virginia. Our society, I think, has embraced too many modern things to a fault, possibly? Is that
Hmm.
part of your mission? Is like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
embracing technology with your book, but in a different way.
yeah.
How do we use this in a healthy way?
And what's interesting is that the technology shows that whatever we do to live more like our ancestors is what is healthy for us.
Yes.
So our modern life, almost in every sense, makes us sicker.
Hmm.
So what we eat, how we move, what we drink, staying out of the sun, being too busy, not resting enough. So having a good balance, with the stress levels, sleeping enough, at the right time, all these things are so important, and it's
Yes.
free. And the technology shows that this is good for us. And that is how it's so much easier for people to navigate their physiology towards what is healthy. Because, like your parents, we were told, even as doctors, we were told that we are the healers. You get sick, we heal you with pills or procedures. But that is not really so. So if you have a lifestyle like your father's or parents that is hurting you, as doctors, we don't really have the means to fix that. What
Right.
can fix that is a lifestyle that is healthy, like you're describing. So you're describing an ideal lifestyle, which is why you look different from the rest of your family, and you are less likely to develop these lifestyle diseases, which include cancer, heart disease, stroke, dementia, Parkinson. Almost any disease you can think of is
Mhm.
related to the lifestyle. And it's not what we were taught in medical school, that it was mainly either genetic or just bad luck.
Right.
Now we know that it's our lifestyle that is the main reason. The genetics may be 10-15% part of it, but most of it, 80% plus, we have control of ourselves.
The funny thing on the genetics subject, I'm glad you brought that up, is again, this is why I love podcasting. I've brought geneticists on the show. I've had scientists, I've had pharmacist experts, right? So, and many of them share the fact that yes, you may quote unquote have the genetic marker or that genetic trait, because that's a cool thing nowadays. I order up my own blood panels now a few times a year, and people are like, why? And I'm like, a regular MD, my family physician, doesn't do that. They'll do the surface level blood work. I want more depth. I want more detail because I'm a geek. So,
Hmm.
and because I've met experts like yourself. So if you're going outside the norm to get a better understanding and that could help you be healthier, why not? So,
Hmm.
but anyway, they've talked to me like, listen, just because you have a genetic marker doesn't mean it's activated, doesn't mean it's
Hmm.
prevalent in your current life. If we do very, very bad things to ourselves, in that day to day healthy lifestyle, the poor nutrition, poor hydration, um, processed foods, sodas, too much
Hmm.
alcohol, all these other variables, lack of sun. Okay, well now you're on that downturn, and you could awaken or activate these genetic
Hmm.
traits that could be bad for us. So there's good and
Yeah.
bad things in our genetics, but it doesn't mean they're all activated. So it's very,
Yeah.
very interesting. I
Yeah, it's
geek
it's
out on
just a vulnerability
that. Yeah.
that increases the chances of you developing any of these diseases. But it's mainly down to your lifestyle. And now, as we were talking about technology, now we have the technology to talk like this, across the ocean,
Yes.
and we use it in our cars, in our planes, in our, in TV or whatever. But now we can use the technology on ourselves.
Yes.
And that is just a major shift in the power in the healthcare system, where you take the power from the hospitals and the doctors and the different practitioners and puts it into your own hand, literally, that you have control with the wearables, with smartwatches, with smart rings like Aura, keeping track of the heart rate, your pattern of movement, the temperatures, and your oxygen levels, that these can track, and you get the control of your
Yes.
health. And then when you include the blood test like you do, then the power is in your hands, and you have shifted also in the timeline from waiting until you get sick, which is the strategy of most healthcare systems around the world, and until preventing you getting sick in the first place, which of course is a lot better, but it's not what we learned in medical school.
Mm.
So I had to learn when I realized then, 10, 12 years ago, that I had to change everything, and I had to learn how to become healthy because we did not learn that in medical school. So I had to kind of start medical school 2.0 and learn all of this again.
Did you, I'm intrigued about that quick little hint on your medical school training. So many of the doctors I've interviewed over the years on this show, it's pretty consistent as far as here in the States that they all relatively agree there is no baseline education on something as simple as nutrition. Do you find that the same over there? Because other than understanding how things metabolize in the body and how obviously the organs and all the hormones and all the acids and all of that, very, very surface level. Most of the MDs or over here ODs or DOs and chiropractors, they all agree. Unless you choose to go down that path and learn more about that, they're not being educated on this at the university level. If you might get it for a week's worth of classes, they might cover for maybe, I think the most I've heard was maybe up to a month. But usually the most response is they hit a little on nutrition a week, maybe two, but they're not digging into the importance of sleep, right? Like that's when your body's healing and recovering. They just say, yeah, you got to sleep better. Like there's no deep dive into these, I feel, the most basic wellness practices. And it goes back to this argument of Eastern medicine, Western medicine, and then at least over here we call it, well, that's woo-woo. It's not traditional medicine. And I'm like, well, how are we defining traditional? Because technically, for example, Asian influence, right? The Eastern medicine versus what we call Western medicine here, our modern medicine. Eastern medicine's older. So wouldn't that be the traditional medicine? We just call our modern medicine traditional over here. And
yeah, it's the least traditional. Yeah.
Right? Do
Yeah,
you guys
absolutely.
have some of the same, butting of heads, so to speak, on this?
No, it would probably be the same. And
Okay.
we, as doctors, have only learned to identify and categorize diseases, finding out what the treatment is. So we didn't learn how to create health, but only to treat disease.
Yes.
So that may be what the Eastern and other traditions in medicine would be more preventative in nature, I would think.
Yes.
How to behave to stay away from the doctor.
Yeah.
So of course there's too much money in a sick person, and that is the problem. So
It is over here.
there's nothing to gain from keeping you healthy. That there's a whole system, including me, even as a normal doctor, I am dependent on sick people
Yes.
to come to me, and they want their pills, they want their blood pressure pills and diabetes pills and what have you. And that is how I make my money.
Yes.
Except of course from selling books about how to stay healthy. So it's good to be making money in
I don't know.
keeping
You're
people
killing it on
healthy
the
as
book
well.
thing. Yeah, you're killing it on the book thing. Like I published my own book as well about what I learned from firefighting, but I did that to benefit the charity that I created. So I hope to, quote, make a lot of money from books. But most authors I've met over the years are like, unless you start ripping the lid off like you have done, you don't get into it per se for the money unless you're looking to write multiple, unless you just have a gangbuster book, right? Many authors are doing it because that'll help increase their influence. And then you're doing paid speaking engagements, right? Conference support, stuff like that. And that's where the real income can come back out of that one day.
Yeah.
And for especially somebody like you, you're choosing to do all this in your free time when you're not doing your regular career of being a physician trying to help people. And I've said this over the years, I have the most respect for people who choose to commit to that level of education and time. My wife is not a human doctor. She's a equine doctor. So she's a large animal veterinarian. She also went to school for chiropractic education too. So she's, the smart of the smart in the animal world. And I mean, we're talking, I don't even know, that's probably 6 to 8 years of education, almost $300,000 US of expenses that she paid off. But that's commitment. That's impressive. And it's just frustrating when nowadays for me, I pay for my medical insurance, but I don't use it. I shouldn't have to use it unless I mess myself up. So a few months ago, I crashed my mountain bike because I'm very outdoorsy, and maybe I'm getting older, but I totally ate it, and I broke some ribs, collapsed the lung. But I was in and out of the hospital in less than 24 hours. Like they even tubed me too. So they did a chest tube through the intercostal muscles,
Mm-hmm.
everything. And the nurses even said, like, wow, yeah, we're pulling your chest tube this morning. All your scans look great. She said, we haven't had this one come in and out this fast in a long time. I'm like, well, I'm here to break the record,
Yeah,
because I'm so
yeah,
healthy. And
yeah.
I don't eat the hospital food. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the worst. The conditions inside the hospital, both when it comes to lighting
mm,
and food. So it's designed to keep you ill. Actually,
yeah. But that's
not
why
not
it's like,
by
I want
not
to spend
by.
money on people like you. I want to say, great.
Mm,
That's what I do now. Like, I make sure now my new goal from last year into 2025. I just did this past week. I now have a regular massage, a 90-minute massage every single month, bare minimum once a month. And then it's usually within a couple of days of a chiropractic care visit because I just like the therapy. And it's not one of those wham bam, thank you, man, just crack and think. No, no, no.
mm,
My doctor spends a good hour with me. We go over lifestyle things, what's happening. Did I injure myself at all recently? Because I'm
mm.
so active. Like that's the kind of care that I like focusing on. We're discussing any kind of possible supplementation or not. How's the aging process? Like if I went to my regular MD that's being paid for by my medical insurance, I'm in and out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If I ask, like 2 years ago, I haven't been back in 2 years, the hospitals are sending me an email reminding me that I'm overdue for my physical. I'm like, I give myself my own physical. So I'm at this tug of war. And I'm sure a lot of people hearing this are probably the same way. Like, oh, they want to make the medical insurance company's happy. You want me to show up, but then that means you get to bill this person and that person. And I want the doctor to get paid. But I also like I pay for my massage cash because that's not covered. I pay for my chiropractor cash because that's not covered. If I want to get some advanced blood work done, I pay for that myself. None of the stuff that I'm doing is covered by the insurance. But I've learned that these things are important to me, like data, as we're discussing here, right? These wearable market, right? It's like I feel now that I've become a health geek, the more data I have, the better informed I am, the more it helps with my research and I call myself my own N1 experiment. I don't know if you ever have anybody,
Mm.
I don't know how that's set in Norway, but it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I don't know if that's going to work here now. Let me try that out. But,
Mm.
so I'm my own N1 experiment. Like I'm a big
Yeah.
carnivore. Some people agree or don't agree. I just tell people, you do you. Um,
Mm.
I know it's a very touchy subject with the veganism and everything else. I have friends that experiment with that. But I've been a carnivore for over 5 years. My blood work is perfect. I have no disease. I don't take any pills, and I'll be
Mm.
48 this year. I think I'm doing
Yeah.
all right. So,
Yeah, and I'm sure carnivore is a lot better than the ultra processed
yeah, no
food
Doritos here.
diet, that most people follow.
Yeah.
And this is probably also why the nutritional education that we received in medical school, that was like 30 years ago. And
Well,
ultra processed food was not yet known to be the cause of all the inflammation in the gut. We
true.
we weren't even taught about inflammation in the gut. Gut bacteria and the microbiota in the gut was not a
Oh no,
subject.
they back then, 30 years ago, yeah, that's true. Like they hadn't even made the connection between the gut biome and the brain, right? That hadn't even been tied
Yeah,
together yet. Wow.
yeah. And still in the textbooks, I can see now it's not yet updated. So
Mhm.
all the knowledge that I have acquired the last 10 years, reading books, listening to podcasts, this knowledge is seems not to be in the textbook, in the standard textbooks in the medical study yet. So they're kind
I
of
think it
losing
comes
ground.
down to who's willing to pay for it,
Yeah.
which again, I could say that from this country. I've dug into it. We know who's paying for what.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
because everything that you have mentioned that keeps you healthy, being outside, sleeping, moving, eating whole foods, uh, resting, it's free. It
yeah,
doesn't, there's not possible to monetize on it. And that is also the problem. It's a good thing because it's available for anyone,
hmm
regardless of your wallet, but there's no commercial pressure behind it. So
no,
nobody's asking you or paying you to get out in the sunshine. or to sleep 1 more hour.
Well, it's like
A
stuff like
sleeping person
this.
is a bad consumer.
It's like
Yeah,
things like
or
this.
blue blocking
It's
glasses.
still
Yeah.
sunlight. I got blue light. I've got 3 different brands here because I've had all the companies on my show over the years. I try and tell
Mhm.
somebody to go buy a pair of glasses if they're doing this after the sunset because the sun's still up here. I don't need them yet, but I wear these every single night. I am religious. Like
Yeah.
once I know something works, it's locked into my
Yeah,
protocol.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
this
And
seems
and
crazy to
people,
people.
yeah, but they're not so crazy because they're taking the sleeping pills. So they will
Exactly.
not wear those
Yeah.
glasses, and then they will need the sleeping pills to sleep.
And their
And
circadian
this,
rhythm is a hot mess. It's a hot
yeah,
mess. So
yeah, and that is maybe the most important thing you can do for your health. And or they may drink alcohol like I used to do. I used to have a couple of drinks every evening,
mhm.
and that was even recommended to me as a doctor
I
10
remember
years
that.
ago.
They
So
don't they still recommend red wine or something like that? I think
yeah,
some still
I
do.
still hear some still do that, and of course, when you have the wearables, you see that's the worst thing you can do.
Hmm.
And according to Whoop, I have the Whoop band on my right arm here,
Okay.
and they are gathering information from their users. And the by far worst stressor is alcohol, and that is what I used to drink. I was thinking it was calming me down, helping me to sleep, but the sleep is just terrible,
Yeah.
and you can
Well,
easily
because
read that
alcohol is
when
a
you, I mean, the
toxin.
heart rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, technically, alcohol is a depressant. So at the surface level, you think, oh, I'm going to depress things, but you're also
Mm,
introducing a toxin. Like I still drink from time to time, but everything else I'm doing, I'm also not going to drink right before bed either because
mm,
it's again.
yeah.
So there's timing, but
Mm,
I've cut way back. Of like I don't even drink beer or any of that stuff anymore. Like uh,
mm,
I have it's because distilled. I have a nice Scotch once in a while, and that's kind of my thing.
mm,
But yeah, hands down, if I want to truly be the ultimate biohacker or mitochondriac, mitohacker for mitochondrial health, I need to just
mm.
go full cold turkey like you. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to prove to people like, hey, I never said I was 100% carnivore, right? Because if I'm 100% carnivore, that means there's no alcohol, right? There's no other little things. Like so I just tell people, hey, my choices, I'm like 85 to 90% carnivore. I'm working out two to
Mm,
3 days a week because exercise is the quote unquote fountain of youth. You have to move the
mm,
body, you have to remind it to stay strong. But I'm adamant about a consistent sleep cycle, circadian rhythm, like you and I were talking
mm,
about, getting outside, being in the weather,
yeah.
especially this time of year. It's winter here. I'm
Mm,
skiing this time of year, but it's still not the same dosing that I would get in the spring and summer from a healthy sun exposure.
mm.
But back to your point, the cool thing about wearables now. Oh, so you said Whoop, right? Like WHOOP?
Yeah.
Okay, I have heard of that. So actually, I haven't done some
Mm,
screen sharing yet because, like, let's do this for the listeners real quick. So let's dig into
mm,
these wearables on this
mm.
subject because you have
I
obviously
actually have 5 on me right now. So.
5. Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have
you got
a
the deal.
Garmin
Are you
watch.
wearing the Aura too? Then
Yeah, I have the Oura Ring, and I have the Samsung
oh,
Galaxy
I gotta
Ring, and I
stop
have
sharing
a
so I can see this
Norwegian
on video.
Inspire
Go
ring.
ahead.
Yeah.
There we go. You
The
got all
Garmin
the.
watch, the Whoop band, there's a Oura Ring, Samsung ring, and the Inspire ring, and my wedding ring. So that's quite normal,
Wow,
right?
I just have my silicone wedding ring because I have a wedding ring somewhere, but I do too many things with my hands, so I can't. Yesterday,
Mm,
you'll appreciate this. I wanted some sun. It was Sunday. I went out and I make sure my firewood is stacked far from the house, and I do farmers carries, and that's how
all
I
right.
resupply my house with firewood because it's an extra workout. So I
Mm,
just enjoy that. People are like, why'd you put the firewood so far away? I was like, I don't want any like rodents and wild animals, living right next to the house. Keep them away, and gives me an
mm,
excuse to hike it in. I don't care if there's snow or not. Just put some boots on and go walk through it. So not everybody thinks that's normal,
mm,
but so sharing here. The pulsecure.com is your site. So now,
mm.
do you have your suggested wearables are also written up on your site as well?
Oh, no, no, they're not on my site.
Okay.
So
All right. Was there a
there's
reason
a
or
lecture there. There's a lecture there.
okay?
So it's kind of I think it's 1 hour lecture
Okay.
on how to use the wearables.
Okay.
So and there's a blog and something there, but it's not really
Yes.
a guide to which wearables to use. But there I can see it there, yeah. So there's a blog
Okay.
there,
Well, yeah, and
and
then I want to make sure people know about your Instagram because you got
there's
a
the
great
Instagram.
following. Yeah, you got
Yeah,
thirty three
here
thousand.
you can see me. Here you
Yeah.
can see me. You see the blue picture there.
Yes.
So that's me just before I started changing my lifestyle. So it's
I was gonna say, you got a little. I don't want to say it's a belly, but
it's a belly. It's a
it's a
belly.
belly.
It's 40 pounds. It's 40 pounds. I was
Okay, so you were like that. You had the same issue then, like your dad, right? Like you said, by your
yeah.
background.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah. And I saw that I started to look like my patients. I could recognize that, the people who look like this, they are
Yeah.
more prone to getting sick from any kind of disease. It's kind of realized because I was too busy living an exciting life. I was busy financing my travels and getting around the world. So
Well, a lot of
I
us
didn't really
justify
look at
the,
my.
the I like what you just said there because we have a big business following too, right? And that's why I always put health first. I'm a very
Hmm,
busy entrepreneur. I travel a lot. My
hmm,
primary client, I do a ton of sales consulting for. So my point here is that okay, just filed my taxes here, right? So my accountant
hmm,
always asks me because I drive more than I fly. So I'm
hmm.
a road warrior. So I don't know what it translates to in kilometers, but just last year alone, I did 38,000 miles on my vehicle. That's
Okay, so that's 1.5 times around the world. All right.
I don't know. So it's like people are like, well, you did what? I was like, yeah, I drive a lot. I call it windshield university. People, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't have music stations booked in my car. I crush podcasts and audiobooks all day,
Hmm.
every day. I'm always
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I'm gonna say that in medical school, 30 years ago, the ones we were learning from was the professor that was there at the time. I mean, that was probably rated number 300 in the world.
Hmm,
Now you can, in your Winfield University, listen to number one in the
yeah.
world, telling you, having a lecture on mitochondria, on the autonomic nervous system, on gut health, and whatever you would be interested in. And this is unfortunately not what most people do,
No.
or most doctors do, even. So they are not updated like you are in this Winfield University.
I'm
They are
glad you
still
said that.
trusting. They're still trusting the knowledge that they got in the non-Winfield University. Like years back.
I love that you said that because I do say that from time to time. I get frustrated, but only in a positive way. I'm a very big mindset person. I'm all about doing positive things in this world, right? It's too easy to do the negative thing. So I'm just wired differently. And I want to make sure my audience and our audience, because you're our co-host today, gets that same energy because it is that important. I believe that we need to take personal accountability for our health. Yes, collectively, as a planet or as a country or whatever, we all should be trying to help each other get healthier and live better lives. Um, that's not always that easy. So, if nothing else, back to my point on the N1 experiment or my Windshield University, I'm committed to learn. So, yes, depending on my day, maybe I'll start the day with a healthy podcast in the morning. And then I might move on to an entrepreneurial or I'll switch to a book, just to spice things up or change it up. It just depends on my mood. But in the end, I am always learning. I don't even know last time I looked at my stats on those podcasts, on Spotify or on
Mm.
Audible for books. We're talking thousands of hours because,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
to your
And
point,
so it's a lot more than a curriculum at medical
yeah.
school.
So why
I'm sure.
aren't doctors doing this more? Because
They
I'm,
they don't they don't have the time, and they're not really motivated, and I can recognize that. But because
but why were you?
before,
Why? So you have the same time. Why did
yeah,
you
because
make the time?
but because my father died. Before that, I didn't open a book after medical school. You've been reading books for 6 years,
Yeah.
and then you think that, okay, I'm done. I've learned what I needed to learn. No more books. You want to kind of puke,
Yeah,
when
you're
you
kind of
see
burned
another
out. Yeah.
textbook, right? You don't
Yeah.
you don't want that, and you think that you have learned what you needed to do, that the body has not really changed, and you're not paying attention to the new science and the new findings in healthcare. So that is why I had to reorient myself because I was forced to, because I could see that I'm losing 20 years here if I don't change my lifestyle. And American research has shown that if you do the right steps that I'm lining out in the Pulse Cure, you can live 24 years longer than if you don't follow them, if you
So
do
you
the
do
wrong
believe in
things.
this? What are they doing now? I think they're using the data from all you're doing, and now everybody. What's the thing? They're calling it it's a different age. It's
Biological age.
yeah. Do you believe
Yeah.
in that? Because there's still two schools
Yeah.
of thought on that. I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
That was one of
absolutely.
my goals to
Absolutely.
ask you today. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see from a 70-year-old person chronologically could be 80 or 85 years old health-wise.
Okay.
And the same another person at the same chronological age could be healthy like a 55-year-old.
Hmm.
So this is what I also see clinically as a doctor. I can see these differences on my patients.
Yeah.
So
Because
it's
again,
absolutely
data is
it's real.
helping, and that's the point of
Yeah.
these wearables, right? The data. It's
Data helps because you have found a good lifestyle on your own. You haven't really needed to get the feedback from the monitors.
well, I was
But
already committing
most
before the
people need
wearables
that.
came out.
Yeah, yeah. But most people need that. So when they see, because this is like having a speedometer in your car. This is a speedometer on your physiology, on your autonomic nervous system. So it's like for most people, it's like suddenly driving and realizing I'm doing 160 miles an hour here, and I thought I was doing 100, but my heart rate reveals that I'm overtaxing myself wildly, which is why people end up in a burnout situation. And there's so many fatigued people with brain fog and burnout and aches here and there that comes from a physiology that is not compatible with our physiology because we are hunter gatherers and our bodies and brains are adjusted to the lifestyle of a hunter gatherer through millions of years.
Yes.
And it's only like the last 30, 40 years that our lifestyle has changed totally.
Yeah, trying to break the coding, if you will, of millions of years of evolution in less than 100 years. Granted, we've done it a little bit, right? All of like I have three computer monitors here, right? I have a ring light up here. So if this was nighttime, I'm wearing the blue blockers, right? Because we were never our eyes, our brains were never designed to handle the bombardment of this much blue light. But I only know that because I interviewed experts like Dr. Jack Cruz and stuff like that, right? And then things like the CGMs now, right? That's a different kind of wearable technology than what you were showing us. But now I'm excited by that because people who don't believe me when I tell them what I already know, because I've interviewed the experts and we've talked about it and I've read the books and I all right. So fine, go get one and then see what happens when you eat that seed oil cooked carbohydrate bomb and you put that into your body and you can't understand why you have gut rot and you're sleeping like crap. And it's like, well, look at what you put in, because what we put in is what we get out. And like you just said, like you can't undo millions of years. I mean, we're doing a good job trying to undo millions of years of evolution, but in a negative way. It's
Yeah.
So that's where I am cool with the wearables because, like I made the joke around before, other than a watch that's tied into my bike computer or stuff like that, I've only ever used it for athletics. But hands down, learning how to do zone 2 training, which is heart rate training, very educational. I'm an endurance athlete. So once I figured that out, I was like, I get it. So that's how it kind of made me embrace it. But other people that need weight loss, like my parents, or understand what I'm trying to tell them, try and cut back on these certain nutritional things, what you think is nutrition, but it's not, and see what's happening. That's the cool thing about the wearable tech is now you know right off the bat. So
yeah, you can see it, and it makes it more motivating to stay away from that glass of alcohol, to do the cold plunge, to skip that last meal of the day that gets stressed way into the night. When you have the CGM, the glucose monitors, you can see what happens when you eat or drink carbohydrates.
Do your whole team embrace that stuff now, the CGMs and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that's popular in Norway as well, or what's going on in that.
Yeah, it has become popular, and you don't need to use it all the time. Maybe you could use it for a month or 2 months, just to know how your body reacts to sugar and carbohydrates, and then you learn to stay away from certain things. Of course, when you don't have it on, you think in your mind that it doesn't raise your blood sugar, but still, it's very, very educational.
Yeah.
So
Well, one of my oldest friends is now wearing this because I went down to visit him in the state of South Carolina. I've known him since we were 15 years of age. And I can't, and he knows who I am. And I went down there and he's still doing stuff that I've known for years. I thought he would give up. Like, you ever hear of Mountain Dew soda?
yeah, yeah.
It's disgusting. Guy still drinks Mountain Dew, but now he's like, oh, it's okay. It's diet. Okay. Don't get me going on that. And then he's just drinking and eating carbs and stuff. Now he doesn't drink a lot of alcohol. He's not a big alcohol guy. So at least he's got that in his
Mm.
favor. But then he's still smoking cigarettes. And I'm like, so
Okay.
now he's a little overweight. He's a year younger than me. And
Mm.
now the doctor gave him a CGM because he's a type 2 diabetic.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
said, bro,
And
we've known each other since we were 15 years old.
yeah. And when you get diabetes, there's been a 20-year before that you had insulin resistance,
Hmm.
which has been a driver of inflammation and has reduced the quality of your cells and your performance. So it's not only for health, this is also for performance. Whatever makes you more healthy makes your brain cells better.
Yes.
You are thinking clearer, you're working better, you're more resilient in every way.
Well,
So
you're guaranteed it's easier to come out of that. For example, this time of year here in the States, we're famous now. We talk a lot more about that seasonal effectiveness disorder, right? That when
yeah,
you have less sun and everything else. Well, it's like, well, if your body is stronger and your brain is healthier, you can weather these more depressive times of year better. You could, like you
yeah,
just said, you have more energy. You bounce back faster. People say that I'm a crazy high energy guy. I'm like, well, yeah, because I I don't want to lose that. I've spent years
mm,
building that and maintaining that as I age because it
mm,
feels good. And why
yeah,
would I want to lose that? I think
yeah.
clearly. I don't have brain fog.
And
I
that is the normal way.
thank you.
So you're yeah, so you're the normal, but the other
But
ones
people
are
think I'm abnormal.
slower. Yeah, but the other ones are full of inflammation, which is there's a great book called The Inflamed Mind by Edward Bullmore that shows that the much of the depression and the feeling low is really your brain cells and mitochondria underperforming and giving you these symptoms.
Hmm.
And I remember when I've been traveling around Africa, around the more where people live outside, this energy level is a normal. And that was such a surprise to me when I was working in these areas to see. I was expecting to see sick people. Of course, I saw that too. That's the inflamed mind, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And they had so much more energy than I was used to back home. So when we are outside of the sun and the seasonal affective disorder, the thing that we have in the winter time is mainly a lack of sun exposure. And even at this time of year, even if you go outside, you will not get a tan, but more than half of the sunlight energy will be red and infrared light that would
Mhm.
even penetrate through clothes
Oh yeah.
and into your cells. So even at this time of year, it's important to get outside and get the solar energy in your system,
I
because
do
of
have a hack for
course,
that though. You'll appreciate this. In my other room over here, I have a big. Well, it's not not the full body one, but I have a red light therapy device because
yeah, yeah,
I had one of those
yeah,
companies on my shows years ago, and I was like,
yeah,
I'll try it out. And especially
yeah,
this time of year, I get in front of
yeah,
that 20-minute sessions. Boom.
yeah,
Yeah,
me too. Yeah, so
yeah,
I have a large panel like that too
yeah.
that I
The big
use.
ones are expensive. I mean, the big ones. I mean, it's on my
Yeah,
goals list. I need to get the ice bath going. I got some
yeah,
goals for this house here. I want to get the dry sauna. Got to get the bigger full panel red light. You know, I want to live
yeah,
forever.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and we can live as long as we are meant to be. We are, designed to decompose, we're designed to die at maybe 93, 94, 95 years old. And the most healthy people that I see in my practice, they will be quite vital until they get to 90, 91, 92. Then they go into the nursing home, and for 2 years they quite rapidly, deteriorate and
Well, let's
die.
pause on that. I truly believe on the nursing home thing. the better ones that I've observed, because I mean, my wife's parents are late 70s, 76, 77 now, and my parents are 75. So obviously, this could be in their future. And I truly believe in that the exercise component and community component. One, mankind needs to be around other people. Don't be sheltered away. And two, you got to stay active, right? But the other thing is, I've learned this from some very successful entrepreneurs and older health professionals. Maybe you'll be doing this when you're older too. Is you have to keep using the brain. I'm pointing at it on the video because so even when they sell a company or they quote unquote retire, they want to still do consulting or guiding or doing something. If you stop using the brain, I see a faster like decline. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to stay sharp. You need to challenge yourself. You need to experience new things and be curious. And
Yeah.
once you stop being in that way, you deteriorate faster.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So again, these are
Mm.
things that we have a choice over, right? That we
Mm.
can do more of as we're aging.
Yeah.
So
But also if you have a high blood sugar level, high blood pressure, you have an inflammation in your system, that will also do its job and work on the deterioration of your brain. Absolutely.
oh
So
yeah, yeah.
so there's it can be damaged from many causes
Well, it's
and
like part of
it
your
could be
story, like that photo on Instagram. Yeah, yeah.
yeah
You had a little bit of a belly on you.
yeah
You said it was probably about 40 pounds, maybe.
yeah
But
it
that's not
was
all. That might not have been all the same type of bad fat, right? I'm sure you
yeah
probably from the alcohol there was probably some visceral fat, which is the bad, right?
yeah
We don't want that around our organs, and that
yeah
doesn't always show on the surface. I call that the beer belly or whatever you want to call it.
hmm
But obviously, you committed to making the changes, then boom, it's amazing how,
yeah
especially as guys, it just falls away. It disappears.
yeah
It's great. So
yeah yeah yeah
yeah. But
yeah
like
and
I said, my old friend, he's younger than me, and he's got
mm,
it. And I was like, you
yeah
don't even drink. I was like, that
yeah
is a sign of disease, my friend. I was like, let me
mm.
help you.
Yeah, and one thing is how you look, but as a doctor, I know that this when people look like this, they are full of inflammation in their system. They have symptoms. They they don't have the energy to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They will be have diseases of all kinds, and then starting to get medications with lots of side effects and maybe a cocktail of seven, eight, nine different
Mm.
medications that there's no way that we have control of the side effects that this will lead to.
Yeah.
So, so
So do you find
you
as a
and you
professional,
either what's that?
as your in your profession, then
Hmm?
do you because you're playing at another level than most
Hmm?
physicians because you have knowledge. Are you doing
Hmm?
what you can to try and stay away from the pharmaceutical approach? Because I
Myself?
truly believe a physician should. Like that's
Myself?
yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. For myself, I do. So what you saw in the picture, I was not only 40 pounds overweight, but I did not exercise at all. I was still smoking sometimes and using some other nicotine stuff that we have in Norway. I was working nighttime as a doctor. I was doing everything wrong,
Mm,
really,
mm.
even though I was a doctor. So now absolutely, I'm free of any medication. 56 soon years old, and plan to stay that way. But as a doctor, the way I work as a normal general practitioner, people come to me to expect pills. They don't expect to come to me to be advised to live in another way. They want to not have responsibility of the diseases that they have contracted.
Does Norway
So,
allow you to talk about non-pharmaceutical approaches the
oh
natural
yeah,
way?
oh yeah.
Because
Oh,
over here
they
it's
would encourage.
yeah,
They
here in
would
the United
encourage you to
States,
do that.
yeah, it's risky. You gotta be very careful. So
Yeah.
depending on what kind of doctor you are,
Hmm.
it's a broken system. I mean, that's why I was wondering if you have some of the same struggles we have here, where there's doctors afraid to talk about ways of preventing the
Hmm.
diabetes. There's doctors who still think that it can't be cured. And I'm like, I'm not talking about
Yeah.
type 1 diabetes. I'm talking about type 2 diabetes. This is a lifestyle man made disease. We
Absolutely.
created it, it didn't exist
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
beginning.
It's reversible. It's an avoidable disease.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And reversible. So you have control of that. So, But the patients, they expect just to get their medication. And we as doctors, maybe that when they get high blood pressure, they have they think that whenever they get a pill from us, doctors, that's the same as if they were going out to exercise. We have kind of solved the problem, but of course we haven't. Yeah.
I call that you could use this unless somebody's already using it in Norway, but I call that the pharmaceutical band-aid. The
Yeah.
band-aid is just covering something up, right?
Yeah.
Is the band-aid
Yeah.
actually healing you? No.
Mm.
The body, if it's healthy, is going to heal itself from the inside
Yeah.
out while you're wearing the band-aid. The
Yeah.
problem is I've never heard of a side effect from a band-aid unless you put it on too tight.
Mm.
Pharmaceutically, every pharmaceutical seems to have a side effect. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because all the pharmaceuticals are against something.
Yeah.
And then they're not only against the problem, but they're against other things as well that creates problems. Whenever you do something for your body, sleeping better, exercising, doing cold plunges, whatever, it's for your body. So it not only fixes this one problem, but it helps the body to stay healthy in many other ways as well. So that is the main difference about it. And yeah, to keep your mitochondria healthy. And I'm sure 80% of the doctors have no idea of how important the mitochondria are for our general health.
It blows my mind on that subject because we have hit on that so many times over the years, thanks to experts like yourself. Because again, I'll shout out to Jack Cruz is still the most downloaded episode I ever aired over the years. And I think it was probably back in 2017. But obviously, he was a mitochondrial expert, and he was like one of those old godfathers, so to speak, in the biohacking world. And he's the guy who originally started getting me into blue blockers and the whole point of circadian rhythm alignment. And he's the first one. He goes, Scott, he goes, biohacking is surface level. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, when you're ready to go deeper, he goes, then you'll be like my fans and followers that are, I call them the mito hackers. We're trying to take it to the cellular level. And I'm like, okay, do tell. And he goes, because he's like, Scott, the most simplistic definition, the mitochondria. You hear about ATP and everything else out there nowadays. He's like, the mitochondria, it's the power plant of your cell. You don't take care of that at the cellular level, it all falls apart. I loved it. Changed me forever.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm currently writing a book on sun exposure and the importance of it. So then you really have to start with the mitochondria and even go further down into the electron transport chain, and to make sure that that chain works perfectly.
There we go. I just interviewed the other night a pharmacist, pretty famous. You ever hear of Dr. Nayan Patel?
No, not really.
He's based in California, so he invented his own supplement, glutathione, right? Which
cool.
Well, he literally built his own factory, his own water purification plant, and his own lab to control 100% of the process to ensure maximum purity. Because I've only ever tried it in liquid form, IV therapy form, and liposomal form. He's sending me samples right now. He patented it into a topical because he's like, the epidermis is where you need to get it into because most people are not processing all the glutathione, and glutathione is essential, for the mitochondria. And I'm like, we were geeking out like you and I right now. It's so much fun. But because I'm not even like at your level, and I was like, dude, I just love this because I'm like, what? There's another way to do it, and it's better. I can't wait. He goes, Scott, I challenge you. Once you get this stuff, he's like, you rub it on your skin. He's like, you probably don't get brain fog. But he's like, I guarantee you will feel it within about 15 to 20 minutes. He's like, just because the body is getting it, like it's supposed to get it. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I don't know how that electron pathway works. Apparently you do.
Yeah, it's probably going in. Yeah, it's probably an antioxidant that goes into the electron transport chain somehow. Just like melatonin does and other stuff.
Well, it's like your point, right? It's like sleep health. Do you actually have to supplement melatonin? Do you?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure if you really need that. I think it's more important to dim the lights a bit 1 or 2 hours before you go to bed. If you dim the lights, and in the morning that you're aware that you should go out into the daylight as early as you can, after you've been waking up.
I do it,
Then
and
you will release
I ground.
melatonin.
Yeah, I go
Yeah,
out
and
barefoot.
grounding.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Getting the electrons.
I'm
So
standing on
there's
a
so many
grounding
things.
mat right now in my studio here. There's a grounding mat under my bare feet.
Yeah,
So
cool. I'm sleeping on a grounding mat. So
I have that on the mattress too.
yeah. So it's these natural things that that we are constructed for. So of course, when there's an exchange of electrons, when we are walking barefoot on the ground,
Mhm.
of course, our physiology has found through the millions of years a way to use that for our own benefit.
Yeah.
An organism being on the earth, not because we are electrical beings,
Yes.
all the nerve signals, the heart, everything that happens in our body is electrical. We are
Yeah.
more electrical than biochemical beings. And and it is important to know. And I'm sure most doctors don't know that.
No, I'm a geek because when I was in high school before college, before university, I went to a technology school and I studied microelectronics technology. So I used to be able to build circuit boards at 17 years old.
Hmm.
The point is, though, there was a machine called an oscilloscope. If you ever see like a sci-fi movie and you see this like sine wave on there, like I used to work with that stuff. So there's resonant frequencies, and
Hmm.
so once somebody started, a biohacker taught me about cellular level grounding and frequencies. And so if you think about it, it's like, well, yeah, we literally have survived on this planet for millions of years of evolution. You don't think that the earth resonates at a certain frequency, and obviously we do too. But thanks to our modern shoes and everything else we've done, we've created a disconnection. And I could tell you, probably been 4 or 5 years ago that I started experimenting with grounding and earthing. And I noticed it. I mean, just after probably about the first month of doing it, walking out in the springtime on my fresh, like moist grass on my yard, I was like, okay, either this is weird or I felt it. So some people don't believe in that either. And I said, well, I'm going to keep doing it. If it's going to make me healthier, let's go. So,
Yeah.
so are you putting a lot of that stuff in the new thing you're writing up?
Yeah. Yeah, I have some of the grounding in my book that is out now in Norway. It's called The
Okay, good.
Rest Cure. So that is in the Pulse Cure, there's about stress, it's about exercise, it's about sleep, it's about active rest, how you can calm yourself down. And that seems to be the hardest thing for people. So that is why my publisher wanted a book only on the rest part of the Pulse Cure. So that actually became a larger book than
Interesting.
the Pulse Cure on 250 pages,
Huh.
um, exploring how you can rest. And what you do with the wearables, you can measure your rest because you may be thinking that you're resting, but the watches will show that you have either been eating something you cannot tolerate or you have been stressing so much that your body can't get into the parasympathetic state, even if you think you're relaxing. So that is why it's important to also have this measurable rest that you can see on your watches or rings, that your heart rate is in the parasympathetic mode.
Now, do you feel like so you've been at this for a while? Obviously, you wrote the book. Because before I started the show, I just have an interesting question, right? Because, like, for example, people like Dr. Jack Cruz and Mito experts, they're like, be careful having too much technology around you at all times, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he's all about shutting down Wi-Fi if you can at night. He's like, if you're going to sleep, why do you need your Wi-Fi internet on? You're just frying yourself. And there's Faraday cages now and everything else. I mean, whole other show. And by the way, real quick, are you good for a few more minutes? I know we're over our time slot. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, but I just want to respect your time. But obviously, we're talking about, I mean, actually, here, I'll screen share while I'm asking the question because, again, your book on Amazon, your bullet points hit right there, right? Improve your sleep, discover the right type, level of exercise, right? Find the best way to relax, right? You just hit on that. Relaxation, calm, sleep. My favorite thing right here, as I'm asking the question, was this. Start a conversation with your body. It might have surprising things to tell you. So that's kind of my thing is, I'm not against technology. I'm all about experimenting, but I also believe in unplugging. So where's the sweet spot on that? Because again, people like Jack Cruz, you don't want all that tech on you at all points in time. There's discussions of possible. I was wearing my watch when I was firefighting years ago, I left the corporate world and went to be a wildland firefighter. So when the mountains are on
Mm-hmm.
fire, I used to do that. So that was a very stressful and beat the
Mm-hmm.
living snot out of you job, like 16 hours a day, hiking with chainsaws and 50 pounds of gear on your back, and you don't shower for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling it was the healthiest, but also the most unhealthy thing I ever did in life because I'm in the outdoors all the time. I'm sleeping on the ground. I'm, when the smoke wasn't too thick, I've got the sun. So I'm like, that part was probably healthy, except for breathing in all the
Mm-hmm.
smoke.
Yeah.
But then there was all the stress and stuff. But we had to wear a watch 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I had that Garmin on all the time. I'm doing altimeter checks for altitude, and because we had to do weather testing, all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a break from that for a couple of years. Then got back into the wearables again. And I wore it for probably a good solid year. I was coaching people in CrossFit in my free time, doing a lot of training in the gym, still doing my mountain bike racing, skiing, everything else. And then for some reason, I just had this arm pain on the one side where I always wore the watch because I'm a lefty. So it was always on my right arm. And I was like, what if there's something to wearing technology too much and too often? So I just stopped wearing it. And then within a month, and I was trying all types of other PT stuff and my chiropractor, my massage therapist, and then it just was gone. So now I only put my tech on when I want to measure a workout or do that, right? Because I'm at a different place with wearables than probably people that are a lot more unhealthy than me. So do you have a opinion on that or a point of view on that? Because you did say earlier, oh, well, if you're doing a CGM, maybe you do it for a month or two and then don't do it. I don't know.
Yeah, and you could probably do that with a Garmin watch or Aura ring as well, but you can also put these devices into flight mode. So they
Okay.
can be registering without transferring the Bluetooth signal to your
Okay.
phone. So they will register and then you could transfer the information while you go out of the room, even if you're concerned about
So
that.
will the device still measure it while in sleep mode? Oh,
Yeah.
so when I'm sleeping, it'll
So
still
it, so
store it
it
all.
Yeah, so it'll be in a flight mode, so it will not be transferring the signals. And
Okay.
then you
See, I'm
can
learning
take
something.
it out of the flight mode, and then it can transfer, yeah.
Okay. So
So, but anyway,
maybe
I
that's the
wouldn't,
issue. It's really, I think, so
yeah.
probably the more concern from the geeks out there, like me, is that it's really the transmission signals that are probably the more aggressive on our cellular health, and maybe
Yeah,
not so much just storing it.
because the rest is just the sending out light.
Okay.
It's either sending out red light or green light, depending on whether it
Okay.
will register oxygen levels or your heart rate.
Yeah.
And it will just take the signal back, mechanically. And then the signals from the watch will be sent with Bluetooth to your phone. So
Okay.
you
See that
can
now
turn
I'm
that off.
open. I'm a little bit more open to this
Hmm.
now. I'm like, okay, that's why I've been
Hmm.
saving that question because I didn't know how that stuff works, and
Hmm.
I don't know if my watch can even go into airplane mode, the Wahoo technology that I'm using. But that's something completely
Hmm.
different. That's meant for athletics
Hmm.
anyway. They don't really have a
So
sleep tracker on that.
and probably most people would find out so much during the course of like 2 months. They would find out that there are foods they cannot tolerate. Maybe they're intolerant to gluten, which would raise the stress levels, for example. They will see the effect of alcohol, so it will be much easier to see the physiological price of alcohol so that you
Yes.
can decide how many drinks do you want or if you want any drinks. I think I haven't met anybody that hasn't cut down on alcohol after seeing the effect on their bodies
It
and their
also
heart rates.
helps you with your financial budget too, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
cut
yeah.
back, you have some more money available to do other things, healthier choices with your life.
Yeah, yeah, you will save the watch, very fast, by just the reduction in alcohol for the month or two. Yeah.
I do love this wearable thing because again, obviously the Pulse Cure is the name of your book, but like, okay, well, something as simplistic as heart rate tracking and management has been used in athletics for years. I mean, whether
Yeah.
I used to run marathons and stuff like that, I did all that stuff. I used to monitor all that stuff back then. I forget the old Pulse watch I had; it was so
Mm.
simple and effective. But nowadays, yes, with sleep, I'm constantly trying to find a
Yeah.
way to help my wife sleep better. She spent years being an on-call doctor, and I think it messed her up, right? Her circadian rhythm has been, so I've been trying to like hack that and
Mm.
get her back to a normal, like
Mm.
quote unquote normal
Yeah.
circadian rhythm. That's going to be
Mm.
healthier for her. So,
Mm. Yeah.
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 So I've been thinking about maybe getting her like an aura, or actually, I like the armband thing because that's something she could take on and off every night. Because I need
Mm,
proof. I need to
mm,
show her. She doesn't believe me. I'm like, okay, let me
mm,
get the science. Let me get the data. Because then
mm.
she can't ignore that. So
Yeah. Yeah, and as a veterinarian, if she Googles heart rate variability and horses or dogs or whatever,
mhm.
of course, in animals, it's also easy to see the heart rate variability and to see the condition of the animal.
Interesting.
And they can use it on handicapped children also that are not able to speak, or they can see the stress levels um, in them and help them as they are not able to tell about their experiences, but it will be seen in the heart rate that some situations stresses them more than others.
Yeah.
And it would be the same in animals also. So there would be a lot of research in the animal kingdom of heart rate variability, and it's a bit weird that because we as doctors we use the heart rate so much for our patients to decide whether this patient have our more than 100 or 110 in heart rate. We know it's a serious condition. As long as we see that the heart rate is 60, we know that this is not a critical patient. But the small nuances in heart rate can tell us so much about the conditions. And you would think that we are good at feeling our stress levels, but we are not. We have excellent senses from the outward threats, like eyesight and hearing and taste of smell and what we can feel. But the feeling of our inner stress levels, we have not ever, never needed it.
Hmm.
So it has even been in the way of these senses towards the outward threats. So it's only in modern times that it's our inner state that is threatening our health, creating the inflammation. So we cannot really feel it. Whether I now have a heart rate or 60 or 80, I have no clue.
Hmm.
It's not, and if our sense of our inner stress was as good as to the outward threats, we would feel, 1/10 of a beat
So that's
difference.
another advantage of these wearable tech is maybe you're not aware of it, but all of a sudden, if you have thresholds set on these armbands or rings, whatever, now you can use technology to become more aware of your
Yeah.
current equilibrium, if you will.
Absolutely. When you have this feedback from the wearables, suddenly you start to feel the nuances that you were never even searching for earlier.
Yeah.
And now,
I
and
love this idea because I'll tell you right now, Doc, I'm not a huge fan of the whole steps thing. Like, oh, I got in 20,000 steps today. I'm like,
hmm,
listen, if that's going to help you move your body, great. Some people do need that. I'm into that
hmm,
deeper dive that we've been talking about today. Get me
hmm,
more data that you can actually make amazing decisions with to take back to a healthcare professional to figure out that next hack in life. That's what I'm open for. I could care less about steps. I did that one time. I
hmm,
turned that mode on my watch and I was
hmm,
like, if I'm carrying firewood and walking the dog, next thing you know, I got a 20,000 day, 30,000 day because I'm always busy doing things. And it's like,
hmm,
okay, clearly I'm a steps guy. Great. I do a lot of steps. That's not going to change who I am. For
hmm,
some people, that might, right? I'm not against that. It's just I'm into this stuff that we're talking about now, right? How do you
hmm.
understand your sleep more? I like this idea of
Yeah.
stress because I didn't think I was stressed the other day. And we have a breed of a dog from, it's a Hungarian bird hunting dog called a Vizsla. Beautiful,
Hmm,
beautiful dog. And now she bonded to my wife because I'm gone all the time. And they usually imprint on one of the parents more than the other. But she's always laying with my wife. My wife has a very stressful profession, but I can get stressed too. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, we're relaxing on the couch, having a conversation, and the dog got up and just came over and laid on my chest. She never does that. And I was like, and my wife told me, she goes, "Oh, you're still pretty stressed out." I'm like, "No, I'm not." She goes, "She would not do that unless you're
hmm,
stressed out. That's in her breed. That's what they do." And I was like, "Well, I was just happy to have the attention of the dog." But
hmm,
it's amazing how that benefits things.
hmm.
It
Yeah.
calms you. So
Hmm.
I would have loved to have a
Yeah.
wearable on for that, just to see what would have changed. It would have been kind of cool
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, and you you would get surprises. Like I was surprised that when I work at the ER,
Yeah.
I'm the calmest. When I really want to calm down, I just go to the ER and work. I can have
Ah,
and earlier before I started tracking, I used to think that ER was stressful.
yeah.
Just by default, I'm at the ER. It must be stressful. I
You're
shouldn't
wired
work that
differently.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't work that much. And now when I see the results, I know that when I go to the ER, I'm as calm as it can be.
You're
So
you're
I
a
don't.
you're a brother from another mother. You're like me because my wife says I'm weird because if an emergency happens, if somebody's car crashes or something like that, I'm calm.
Hmm.
I think it's probably the
Yeah.
firefighting training. I'm ready. I always
Yeah.
have a medical kit in my car. I'm ready to go help people. I'm completely calm,
Hmm.
cool, and collected in an emergency situation.
Yeah.
If we're getting ready to leave for a ski vacation,
Hmm.
I'm stressed out about, okay, is everything on time? Is the luggage booked? She's like, you're leaving on vacation and you're on a little
Hmm.
edge. But she's like, the
Hmm.
world could come to an end and you're completely calm. And I said,
Hmm.
all
Yeah.
right. So it's
Yeah.
like you. It's like, okay, you're trained, you're calm,
Hmm.
like you're good in the ER situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Hmm.
Hmm.
Now you find that in the outdoor. Have you ever been around emergency situations just when you're off and stumble
Yeah.
across an emergency situation? You're probably calm, cool, and collected, right?
Yeah. You just switch into the mode. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just fun data right there. So just to see how
Yeah.
often you can set yourself off.
Yeah, and other people they can see that when they are at their job, that with certain colleagues they get stressed, and with other people they're not. And then they even go to their boss and say, "Okay, could you minimize my contact with this person and let me have more of these kind of jobs?"
I
And they would
never
be
would have thought
allowed.
about
And
that.
yeah,
Wow.
and I've heard other people saying they're in the same situation and they cannot change their work situation, but they are taking it upon themselves to calm themselves down with this particular person. So when you can see that, what you can measure, you can master, right? So when you see the results, it's so much easier to navigate and regulate your system and by doing breath work, for example, or
I
other
love how you
ways to
tie it
calm
back to
yourself
the
down.
professional space. I think that's a great. I didn't even make that connection, but that's totally true. You can't always change the personality types of your coworkers or your work
Hmm.
environment. And if you do love what you do, but maybe one or two people just rub you the wrong way, I love that. That creates more self awareness. It helps you
Hmm.
start thinking of ways to counteract that and
Hmm.
live a better work life balance. I love that. I never even made that
Hmm.
connection. I think that's awesome. So,
Hmm.
do you see a lot of people doing that more?
Yeah, I get so many, on Instagram, I get so many messages from people on what they find out. So,
Hmm.
so that is so what's been so interesting. So before, when I wrote the book, I had the experience of myself and of 200 other test people. But now in the 2 years that have gone since it was released in Norway, I get thousands.
Yeah.
I get probably 20 messages on Instagram every day. People sending me observations and curves and graphs of their systems, and this gets a window into so many people's different
It's
nervous
like a
systems.
free
And
public clinical trial. Like because
yeah.
these are people just sending you their results. I think that's amazing. Uh,
Mhm.
that's great data. Is that all stuff that you're pouring into
Yeah.
the next write up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I will. And it also shows that we are very individual in our nervous system. So we're all different. So you cannot use, like we are used to as doctors, to use the same medicine. If you have that diagnosis, okay, you get this medicine,
Mm.
finished. And we're all very individual. So this is personalized, individualized medicine, preventative medicine.
I love that point because it is too often that there's this cookie cutter approach to a lot of things in our modern era, and it's true. We are, even though biologically we might be all relatively built the same way, we're not. It's
Hmm.
everybody has different upbringings, different childhoods, different adolescence, different education, different friends, different work, everything. So we're all
Yeah.
through our maturing process throughout life. We have all different stimuli that is triggering
Hmm.
different changes in our brains and our body and everything. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean that's why I look like this because I just chose to commit to health and wellness earlier on, and my family doesn't look like that. People are like, oh, you sure you weren't adopted? I'm like, no, we're
Mm-hmm.
often the same genetic profile. It's just
Mm.
I committed to things more actively younger, which
Mm.
allowed me to become more of an athletic person as I got older as well. My family
Mm.
could have done the same thing after we left the farming
Mm.
world,
Yeah.
but they just didn't.
Yeah.
So,
So you don't have an option to avoid the struggle.
hmm,
So either you put in the effort like you do beforehand, and then it's within your control, or you hope for the best and wait until you get sick, and then it's a lot outside of your control.
yeah,
Maybe you have contracted a disease for which there are no cure,
hmm,
and it's very hard.
yeah.
And it's much harder to be sick from your 60s, than to put in the effort that you're doing.
Yes,
So
that's
it's,
part of what I do it too. I want to be more resilient as I age because you don't know what
mm,
could come tomorrow. I can't
mm,
look into the future. There is no crystal ball. So,
yeah,
but if I've worked hard to build a strong foundation that I'm confident in, I feel
mm,
like I have done better for myself, for my wife, for my family, but also for the public healthcare system. I have to pay
mm,
a lot to be in it, like everybody else, but I'm not a drain on it. I don't need to go to the
mm,
doctors all the time. Crashing a
mm,
mountain bike, breaking some ribs, that's one thing. But it's like,
mm,
other than that, I'm not a drain on that system. And that's back to my
mm,
point on personal accountability. If we all just did a little bit more of that, and you don't have to go to become as much of a geek as me or take it to that level, but like just find ways to just maybe build
mm.
ourselves a little bit more resilient, a little more
Yeah,
independent, a little
yeah,
more accountable. Yeah.
yeah, and a little more is enough.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do the full effort that you're doing. If you're just doing 30% of that, then you've done get most of the reward
Yeah.
health-wise.
Is
So
that what you usually find with most of your patients? You're just trying to get them to try a little bit more
yeah.
and make a cup because it could literally shift your entire future of your life. Just one or two small changes could be a
Mm.
rippling effect,
Yeah,
throughout the rest of time.
absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. Well, listen, we've talked a while here. It's late where you're at, so I want to respect the remaining part of your evening because you're a busy man. Um,
Mm.
I always have my guest co-hosts help close out the show. So obviously
Mm.
the Pulse Cure, I want everybody to go get on Amazon. This will be linked in your show notes, ladies and gentlemen. We obviously shared his Instagram. I'll keep a link in here for the Whoop because anything we
Mm.
discuss, I like to share links in there. If there's anything else,
Mm.
by the way,
Then
after tonight,
I would say Garmin is by far the best choice. So if you
yes,
want to
yes,
it depends.
but you got to pay for
If you want to
it.
no, it's cheaper. No, Garmin is
Garmin's
the
gotten more
cheapest choice.
affordable.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So you
okay.
you would be able to get kind of a Forerunner 165. It would probably be
Oh, I was looking at the
$250.
Phoenix.
Yeah, that's expensive. Yeah, yes,
That's
you would get it
expensive.
in the
Yeah.
price range. Yeah,
Oh.
but you would get them probably down to $250.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I'm
it would also be
actually
the cheapest ones.
Yeah, I just went ahead and hit Google real quick, like you say. You said a Forerunner, so it looks like it just depends on. It could be anywhere from
Yeah,
There you
you would
go.
need
Running one.
165. 165 would be good.
Yeah,
So,
okay, there you
so
go.
you would
You don't need to buy the
yeah,
top of the line Phoenix.
no,
Actually,
but not the bottom either. So
no,
you would
this is what
need
I used to have. I used to have the Forerunner when I was firefighting, but that
yeah,
was
yeah.
that was back in 2011. It might not have been called
Mm,
the Forerunner back then. I don't know.
mm, yeah,
Real quick
yeah.
while we're screen sharing, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Again,
Mm.
thepulsecure.com. Go get the book.
And the book is also an audiobook, Audible and an ebook. So you would get it
I
on
noticed
Amazon
that,
or whatever.
and
Yeah.
I had already downloaded that. So I have a business
Mm,
trip coming up this week. So
mm,
I'll be checking it out deeper because
mm,
my hack is as long as it's very well read. Did you do a
mm.
voiceover person or did you do it?
No, it was a British person doing it,
Okay.
an
So
Englishman.
I like
So.
to speed it up. So I usually do it about
Mm,
1.5 times because I can
right.
digest content better and faster.
Mm,
My
mm,
wife can't stand it. She gets in my car and if there's something already playing and she said it sounds like chipmunks, I said, yeah,
mm,
I have
mm,
a lot of things I want to learn. So I want to
mm.
consume things faster. So,
Uh,
but I'm trying to crush your book. If I don't finish it, we're leaving for a
mm,
ski trip to Colorado this weekend. So I'll
mm,
be finishing it on the plane if I don't finish it. So,
mm,
but on these notes, you're the guest co-host. I have you
mm,
help close the show out. And it's really, really simple. Over the years, I switched to how we close it out. I just say, you know what? People like you who I bring on this show, you're really trying to change the world for a better place. And not just your professional choice as a physician, but obviously becoming an author and putting out this knowledge. So you'll understand my request. I'm asking guys or girls, whoever's on the show, to leave behind something. It could be a legacy message. You probably already have a legacy message, something that you're standing for, that you're trying to leave behind in this world. Because why are we doing all these things like writing a book and choosing a profession like a physician if you're not trying to change the world for the better? So if you had to sum it all up, how would you like to close out the show? What's a message you'd like to leave behind for the audience?
Yeah, the message would have to be that you are in more control of your health than maybe you think, and that it's easier to do it with feedback from wearables. And maybe I would end with the first words in my book, The Pulse Cure. It's from Albert Schweitzer, the doctor, who says, "The doctor of the future will be yourself." And so now we're kind of already there. We can have control and we can be our own doctors. So
I will agree with that 110%.
mm.
I'm not calling myself a doctor, though. You worked way too hard to have that right. So, but I love the way you close that out. Thank you, sir. I'll give you a proper goodbye off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, again, go check out thepulsecure.com. I will be finishing that book over this week ahead. I love setting hard, aggressive goals because I was trying to finish it before he came on. And with the trip coming up, I just say, let's get him on. Let's finish this up. So again, go check out thepulsecure.com, get the book, learn some things, embrace wearable technology. I'll be doing more of it as we move forward, thanks to tonight's show. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to fuel your health, your business, and your lifestyle. And Torkil definitely helped us do that today. So thanks for tuning in. And remember, you too could live the fuel, but we'll talk to you guys again soon.